bibliophiles and those raising bibliophiles. Without ratings and warning labels, knowing which books are appropriate for your children to read is like navigating wild terrain without a map or a compass. I don't know about you, but I have been burned more than once handing my child a book that I thought was clean and appropriate for them to read. I'm a fellow mom, educator, reading specialist, and literary enthusiast, trying to find great books for my children and yours to read. So if you're looking for a real review from a mom with a biblical worldview, then welcome and enjoy this week's book review. So this week's book review is The Green Ember by S.D. Smith, and it is the first in a fantasy series that I think is up to about 10 books maybe in the series. Rabbits, Heather and Pickett, they have a very devastating day in which they lose their family, their home, and the only life that they have ever known. Red-Eye Garlickson, and his band of wolves have destroyed their home. And in the opening fourth of the book, he is in pursuit of Heather and Pickett, and due to their cunning and help from their uncle Wilfred and his companion Smalls, Heather and Pickett are able to escape and make it to Cloud Mountain. Now, before I get too much further in my review of this book, I do want to read just a little bit of the opening just to give you a taste. Now, this particular book does have a prologue. And so what I just shared a little bit may not necessarily make sense because it's coming from the prologue. Two soaked and battered rabbits washed up on the shore of Iman Lake. Gasping, Fleck crawled onto the stony beach, rolled over, and tried to clear his mind. Galt was already standing. "We have to go, Fleck," he said, eyes darting from the lake to the tree line. "I'm no traitor," Fleck managed to say through ragged breaths. "Traitor?" Galt cried. "The winning side gets to decide who the traitors were. We've lost, Fleck. It's over. Even you, Captain Blackstar, can do nothing this time. We have no chance." We have no chance? He has no chance," Galt said, head down, edging toward the forest. Fleck stood slowly, staggering. The usually gray fur of his arm was blotched with dark scarlet. One eye was swollen shut. "He can be saved," Fleck said, reaching for his sword. His hand closed on air. His scabbard was empty. "Nothing," Galt said. "There's nothing we can do. It's the end of the world." "But the oath, Galt. Remember? We can still turn this. King Whitsun needs us. Prince Lander needs us," he said, pointing to the burning ship. "I'll never turn traitor." "You're only a traitor if you betray yourself," Galt said. He sprinted off, disappearing into the trees. Fleck struggled to stay upright, swaying. He turned from the fleeing rabbit to face the lake. Charcoal smoke corkscrewed into the sky. The blackened boat teemed with enemies. Flames snapped at the red diamond standard as the last king's bucks grappled with the invaders on the deck. Whitsun Mariner stood among them, his sword poised, and his harried shouts echoing over the lake. Fleck straightened and stretched his arm. Pain flared. Unbearable agony. He bent, wincing. He opened his eyes and saw King Whitsun, fighting desperately to protect Prince Lander. Fleck rose, ignoring the pain, and shouted across the water. "My place beside you, my blood for yours, till the green ember rises, or the end of the world." Swordless, Fleck Blackstar hobbled to the water's edge and plunged in. And so that's the prologue, and that's just a little bit to kind of give you a taste of the story as you kind of jump in to this fantasy series. So Cloud Mountain, that Heather and Pickett have been able to escape to, is a city for many rabbits under the authority of Lord Rake. And their efforts there supply basically the needs of the citadels around the area that are also run by rabbits. Unfortunately, Uncle Wilfred is not a welcomed guest due to his brother's betrayal that caused the king Jupiter's death. With Jupiter's heir whereabouts sort of in question, the wolves getting closer day by day, there's a lot of fear and trepidation about what the future holds. While at Cloud Mountain, Heather and Pickett are often cared for by an apprentice rabbit, Emma. And Pickett arrives with a broken foot that needs mending, but his wounds are actually deeper than that. Pickett desires to never be helpless again, and against his sister's wishes, he apprentices himself to a melancholy, brooding Captain Helmer for training. Meanwhile, Heather is looking for answers about her family and desires to help her brother return to his old self. She takes it. It takes her a while to realize that he is changing and that she's got to kind of help him with whatever's going to come next. There is another rabbit whose name is Kyle. He is rambunctious. He's kind of listless. He defends and befriends Heather and Pickett, though Emma warns them against trusting him. Heather gives him the benefit of the doubt. However, this leads to one of the main complications near the end of the story, as Kyle betrays the heir of King Jupiter to the enemy. And Heather and Pickett do what they can to save the heir, but to do so means they have to separate. Their bravery ends well, so I'll kind of spoil it a little bit there, and the heir is saved for the moment. The story ultimately ends with sort of leading into book 2 and this realization that Heather and Pickett's family may actually still be alive and are held prisoner. So there are some great themes and a few quotes that I pulled from the book that I think were great. So I encourage you to go to my website at holdingsteadfastreaders.com to get some more of those specific details. And if you have a reader that loves fantasy, loves adventure, then this is a great book to put before them. There are themes about friendship, loyalty, trust, bravery, courage, all great themes for readers to explore and internalize. The story is full of a battle for hope in the midst of darkness and uncertainty, and there is really a deep, abiding hope that compels the rabbits forward in steadfastness and perseverance. So that is this week's book review. I hope that was helpful to you as a parent trying to figure out what is appropriate and not appropriate for your children to read, and I hope that you will join me next week for another book review.